This walnut block is square. The bowl I want is round. But what if it could be both? Most bowls lose their corners along the way. This one won't. And according to several people in the comments, I should absolutely not be doing this with a miter saw. After all, it's a tool designed for straight cuts, not for pretending to be a high-speed carving lathe. So naturally, let's give it a try and see if it's worth the risk. To make this work, I first need a jig. Nothing fancy, just a piece of melamine board and a wooden dowel. The dowel needs to stick out only a few millimeters above the surface. Enough to locate the workpiece, not enough to become part of the project. For the workpiece, I'm using a square block of American walnut. It's about 155 millimeters wide and 35 millimeters thick. Honestly, this piece looked way too nice for an experiment, which is exactly why I picked it. I marked the center and drilled a matching hole. The fit needs to be snug. If there's any wobble now, there will be a lot more wobble later. Next, I moved over to the miter saw. The first adjustment is making sure the blade lines up perfectly with the center of the dowel. The second adjustment is making sure the blade lines up with the center from the other direction. The third adjustment is making sure I didn't accidentally move the first two adjustments while doing the second one. Once everything looked right, I locked the sliders and adjusted the cutting depth. The goal is simple: remove as much material as possible without discovering the locating hole from the wrong side. If I go too deep, the hole will show up in the center of the bowl, which is woodworking language for congratulations, start over. And before somebody asks, yes, I double-checked everything several times. The same way you check if you lock the front door 5 minutes after leaving the house. Did I actually unplug the iron? With the walnut mounted in place, it was finally time to start cutting. And by cutting, I mean making the exact same cut over and over again. It's basically the woodworking version of loading a dishwasher. Little by little, the corners started disappearing. And for the first time, I could actually see where this was going, which was reassuring. Eventually, I completed a full rotation and trimmed away the remaining high spots. Up until now, I thought the dust collection on this saw was doing a pretty decent job. Looking around the workshop, the dust collection clearly had different plans. I think at least half of this walnut is now stored somewhere in the air. With most of the material removed, I lowered the blade slightly and started cleaning up the surface. The bowl was now as deep as I could reasonably make it. And while I continue using perfectly normal tools in increasingly questionable ways, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Apparently this is what the channel has become. The result actually looked pretty good, but then I started wondering, what if the bowl wasn't completely round? What if it kept some of the square character? So I marked out a different pattern. This time, instead of cutting all the way around, I left small sections untouched. The idea was to create built-in dividers, a very practical storage solution, or a very complicated way to organize peanuts. Either way, I liked the look of it. The funny thing is that a wood lathe wouldn't really help here. That's normally the obvious tool for making bowls, but for this shape, the weird method actually has an advantage, which doesn't happen often, so I'll take the win. A couple more passes later, and the surface cleaned up surprisingly well. And that's the final result, a bowl that's somehow square and round at the same time. Honestly, this is the kind of project I'd keep on a shelf where I can actually see it every day. Not because it's useful, just because I'd still be staring at it thinking, yeah, I made that with a miter saw. The corners give it character. The round interior keeps it practical. So was it worth the risk? Probably. At the very least, I ended up with a unique bowl and a place to store keys, coins, earbuds, random screws, and all the other small objects that somehow migrate into your pocket. Now I'm curious, and what's the most inappropriate tool you've ever used for a job? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.